It's like something out of science fiction. Unsettling transformations are sweeping across the planet. And clue by clue, investigators are assembling a new picture of Earth. They suspect we've entered a time of faster global change than any human being has ever witnessed. But we can rise to the challenge. Alter the course. It's up to all of us to confront these strange days on planet Earth. Careless divers are breaking the slow-growing and fragile coral. Developers are draining mangrove swamps, nurseries for a gamut of fish species that populate the reef. But graver still is the long-term threat posed by contaminants flowing from the growing human presence along the coast.
If the reef disappears, then the white sands disappear, the clear waters disappear, and the basis of the economy along the coast disappears.
If the underground rivers aren't protected, the corals and fish, crystal waters and white sands could all be lost. And this tourist haven could start looking like a ghost town. Chesapeake Bay is the largest of America's 130 estuaries, and the third largest in the world. One troubling shift is a summertime drop in deepwater oxygen. Investigators have identified the culprit. Phytoplankton blooms are population explosions of microscopic aquatic plants and algae. Blooms are happening more often in Chesapeake Bay. When this stuff dies, it falls to the bottom and decomposes.
And during that process, oxygen is used. And you develop in the deeper waters these areas where there is no oxygen.
Fish need oxygen just like other animals. So stripers that summer in the bay are being forced to change some deeply ingrained habits.
These fish don't like the warm water temperatures that they encounter here during the summer months. So they sort of hunker down in the deeper, cooler portions of the bay.
Only now, these refuges from summer's heat are off limits. There's no longer enough oxygen down there.
So during the warmest, most stressful times of the year, they're being forced into shallower, more stressful, warmer waters.
Increased stress reduces a body's resistance to disease. It's true for us, it's true for fish. So why is all this happening? Why are phytoplankton blooms becoming more common? The use of chemical fertilizers in the Chesapeake watershed has soared in recent decades as the number of people living and working here has tripled. From just about everywhere, chemicals called nutrients are being washed unnoticed into streams and rivers and carried to the bay. The result, here and elsewhere, is something called dead zones. Places where species that can't run away fast enough die for lack of oxygen. Over 300 persistent or seasonal dead zones have formed worldwide, and the number is growing.
So in a sense, we are the enemy, you know.
Except we can't really afford to be the enemy. That just means we all lose, and so does the bay. For a young albatross, the first year of life is full of waiting. Waiting for parents to bring back food. Waiting to grow big and strong enough to wander the seas and fend for themselves. But lately, for growing numbers of chicks, those moments never arrive.
You see skeletons, and in the middle of the chick, their stomach is full of all sorts of plastic. The first thing you think of is, there's no food in here. There's no room for food.
first...
To Michelle Hester and her colleague, Hannah Nevins, what you can find inside a seabird is as startling as it is disturbing.
Bottle cap lid, it's got the little grooves, painted foam. So here's another white piece. Yeah, some natural pumice, squid beaks. Oh, look at that. Pacifier. Lots of fishing line.
And then there's also what we call industrial plastic, which are the pellets that start the whole process. If you want to make a toy soldier, you'll order pellets. And those look almost exactly like fish eggs.
Which is why albatross parents scoop them up and bring them home to feed their young. For the chicks, it's an unhappy meal.
If their stomach is full of plastic, then it's displacing water, so they might be dying of dehydration.
Because, of course, albatross aren't the only creatures out there looking for food.
There's definitely going to be consequences on many, many levels and for many, many species and in many, many habitats.
So where does all this plastic come from? Nearly half of the carbon dioxide added to the atmosphere in the past 200 years has ended up in the ocean. Here, it triggers chemical reactions that we don't notice, but other creatures do. The carbon dioxide is changing the chemistry of seawater, making it more acidic.
And this is, I think, one of the most serious questions that we have to address in the near future.